Hello everyone, Coach Jacinto here, strength and conditioning coach and health teacher at Mountain View High School here in Bend, Oregon. So this is part 2 of the series of videos that I'm putting together of how I put my strength and conditioning program together here at Mountain View. In this video, we're going to talk about volume, strength training methods, and rep schemes that I use when I put together our program. The ins and the outs and whys. I used certain methods and schemes and how I come up with the volume. So I hope you enjoy. Hopefully you get something out of it. Please let me know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe just so you can get notification as the videos start coming up in this series. Okay, so now that we came up with the ingredients of our strength and conditioning program, let's talk a little bit about volume and rep schemes. So reps and sets, how do I come up with it? How do I put it together? What's my thought process behind it? Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is determining volume. Like, how do we determine volume? One of the things is like, I always wanted to know, I'm like, am I overworking my high school students? Am I not giving them enough? How do I know what, how much volume that they should be getting? So I picked up this book, The System. If you have not picked up this, if you have not read this and not read through this, please pick it up. This is an awesome, awesome resource. And this table that I have here on the screen that I'm showing, I took from this book, okay? So it gave me a great starting place of how to determine volume, okay? So as you can see here, with the athlete, most of our high school students are going to be novice lifters, right? So, maybe 1 year of training, maybe 4 years by the time they're seniors, right? So they're all really novice lifters. So most of my athletes in my programs, they stay around 750 to 1,000 reps per month, okay? Now, what that means is that when we talked about the video before, we talked about the core lifts. So when determining this volume, we only count the reps for the core lifts, okay? Not for the accessories, all right? Like, that doesn't mean that just give the kids tons of accessory reps and it's not going to matter. Well, it will matter if you give them too much, right? So just be smart about what you do with the accessory reps. But what we're counting here and how we're determining volume is the number of reps for the core lifts that we discussed earlier, okay? As you can see, advanced and elite, very few of my athletes will be ever in for high school will ever be in the advanced or the elite range. So I like to keep it for my high school students in that 750 to 1,000 reps per month, okay? Okay, so now that we know the guidelines to our volume, let's talk a little bit about how we're going to distribute that volume when it comes to intensity, all right? So here on the screen, you can see a chart that was used by Soviet lifters in between 60s and the 70s. 1960 through 1971, and they were very successful using this distribution of volume by intensity zone. So they use this chart close to it, okay? So I like to kind of use this as another guideline, right? Do I need to stick to it? No, but I kind of want to use these different charts as guidelines to help me put together my program, okay? So as you can see, it was distributed in different zones. So zone 1 was like 55%. 10% of their lifts were done at 55% of their 1 RM. Now, just keep in mind, we do use 1 RM for our lifts. So we use percentages. Now, I know a lot of people don't think that percentages are a smart idea. Some people do, so it's back and forth, right? For us at the high school setting, I think it's a great idea. I need to give my high school students a guideline and a place where they need to be. Are they always going to feel that lift? No. But I think that the RPE scale is more for advanced lifters. As we talked about in the slide before, all of my high school lifters, they're novice lifters. Okay, so they're not going to know how to where they're going to slide on that RPE scale, right? So I need to make sure that they know how much weight they should be lifting. At least give them a starting point, okay, to where they should be, right? So if you're not comfortable testing 1RMs, there are equations that you can use where you can get an approximate 1RM. Let's say, for example, if they lift weight for 5 times as much as they can, you can use an equation and it'll give you an approximate 1RM. And then you can use the percentages, right? So this is how, and like I said, I use this scale here just as a guideline, just to kind of give me an idea of how I should distribute my intensity when it comes to percentages through my program. Okay, so as you can see here, zone 2 is like 65%. 25% of your lift should come from there. Zone 3 is about 75% of their 1RM, and about 35% of their lift should come from there. Zone 4, 80 to 85%, 25% of your lift should come from there. So now we're talking about volume, and now we're looking at, okay, so what percentage of our lifts should fall into these zones, right? And zone 5 is 90 and above. Only about 5% of our lifts come from 90 and above, okay? And when we start to talk about some of the strength training methods, you'll see how I clump some of these together, and you'll see I don't exactly follow this exact chart, but this kind of gives you some guidelines of how you should distribute your volume when it comes to intensity, okay? All right, so now let's talk about the strength training methods that I use when creating our program. So there's 4 methods that I utilize throughout the week. So the first one is our max effort method. Okay, so that's lifting a maximal load against maximal resistance. So that's 85 and above. All right. So and then we're going to go into our sub-maximal effort, which is on the top right. And that's lifting a submaximal load with maximal speed, okay? Obviously, it's still going to be heavy, so that's 75 to 85% of our 1RM, so it's still heavy, but we're really trying to push with a little more velocity than we would for our max effort method, okay? This is a big portion of our lifts are happening in this sub-maximal effort method, okay? Utilizing this method, okay? And then down below on the left-hand side, we've got our dynamic effort method. That's lifting a non-maximal load with maximal speed. So this is our power, okay? So when we're really working on our power, we're using a dynamic effort method, okay? We'll also use this when we're lifting lighter weight, okay? Maybe it's part of our warm-up, okay? I still expect our high school students to use this method to help promote bar velocity, okay? So the lighter the weight, I want the bar to move faster, okay? And then over to the far bottom right, we've got repeated effort method. So this is like your bodybuilding. Most of us know it as a bodybuilding method, right? So this is where we're really trying to build hypertrophy, build muscle, all right? So some of the rep ranges could be anywhere from, people say, from 6 to 30, right? What we use in the methods is we're anywhere from 8 to 12. We keep it simple, 8 to 12, but we're lifting non-maximal load to failure, all right? So that's the goal. At least, if not to failure, close to failure, okay? That's where we're really going to see that muscle growth that we're looking for using this method, okay? All right, so now that we discussed a little bit about the strength training methods that I use, let's talk a little bit about the rep schemes that I use to promote those methods, okay? So first, for the max effort method, the rep scheme that I use is a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, okay? And if we go above the 100%, then we add another 1. So it could be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then 1, okay? A lot of times when we do max out, we really try to increase our max by 2 to 5%, okay? Then our sub-maximal effort method, the rep scheme that I like to use is a 5x5. We're all familiar with a 5x5, okay? So 5 sets at 5 reps for 5 sets, okay? And those are being done at about 75 to 85% of their 1 RM, okay? So that's our sub-maximal effort rep scheme, all right? And then down below on the left-hand side, we've got our dynamic effort method. The rep range that we use could be anywhere from 3 to 5, okay? For our dynamic effort, we don't go above 5, all right? We really want to promote bar velocity, and so a rep scheme that we could use could be a 5x3, okay? So 5 sets for 3 reps, okay? So 3 reps for 5 sets. Then the next, for our repeated effort method, for rep schemes that we use, like I said, I like to keep it from 8 to 12. Obviously, we're going to failure or near failure, so that really depends on how much weight you're going to use. All right, so like I said, I like to keep it 8 to 12. So, for example, a rep scheme could be 4 sets of 10. Okay, and so that's how those are the 4 rep schemes that we use, okay? They change a little bit, okay, depending on the week. But one thing to keep in mind is for our tier 1 exercises, okay, so when we have our lower body, which is our back squat, okay, we'll utilize the three rep schemes, okay? We won't use the repeated effort method for our priority lifts, okay? We'll use max effort method, and we'll use sub-maximal effort method, and then we'll use the dynamic effort method. Those are the 3 that we'll utilize for the tier 1 exercises, okay? Now, for our tier 2 and tier 3, it'll really depend. We'll use dynamic effort method if it's our power section, if it's our power tier, or if it's not our power tier, we'll use the repeated effort method. So for example, on day 1, we've got back squats at tier 1. So we'll use either sub-maximal or maximal effort method in that tier. And then for tier 2, we have upper body. We'll use our repeated effort method during that. Those are the rep schemes that we'll use for our tier 2. And then our tier 3, which is more our dynamic, our power section. It's our total body. So remember, for our total body, I like to use our power section. That's where we try to promote power. We'll use a dynamic effort method there, okay? So that's kind of how I'll start putting it together, just to kind of give you an idea. In the next video, we'll really start to dive in how I put all these methods, these rep schemes together with all the exercises, and then with every week, okay? We'll start to align all that and put it together on one work card to where our students can actually look at it and they know exactly what they're doing, how many reps they're doing for the entire month.